So I've been asked by a few of my clients to offer a slightly longer yoga practice on my website. I have, as you may or may not have seen, quite a few 10-15 minute videos. So I'm going to offer a kind of half an hour, 40-minute practice now, and hope that's a fuller amount for you or for anyone else following. As you can see, I'm quite heavily pregnant, so if my balance isn't quite up to scratch, then please forgive me. We're going to start seated. We're going to bring our right shin in front of our left shin and flex the feet and perhaps bring the sit bones a little bit wider. If you find that your back rounds in this position, if you sit yourself on a brick or just prop yourself up somehow, that's a good way to start. And just start by bringing your hands onto your knees. Inhale, roll the chest open a little bit, shoulders back. And then as you exhale, just naturally allow your back to slump slightly, rounding, perhaps stretching the hands out. And as you inhale, again, pull open perhaps a little bit firmer. As you exhale, then press a little bit firmer, rounding and releasing through the back of the body. And one last time, inhale to lift and lengthen, imagining space in between the vertebra and the plates. And as you exhale, pressing the back. But then lift up tall, perhaps simply just move the head from side to side a little bit, stretching out the neck. And you could open and close the mouth nice and wide to release the jaw. So a couple of wide times, even if it feels a bit self-conscious to do so. Then come and sit, close the eyes for a moment. See if you can lift up really tall through the crown of the head, lifting and lengthening through the spine. And slightly press down into all areas touching the ground. Pull the belly in a little bit, and then just start to release and relax through the muscles in the face, around the forehead, through the muscles around the temples, the jaw. And run that down to the shoulders, softening, just feeling a little release, and then start to deepen the breath. And maybe feeling that you're taking the first deep breaths you've taken for a little while, as we always so often breathe very shallow when we're subconsciously breathing. So just being conscious about the breath, using the lungs, feeling the chest rise, perhaps feeling the belly rise and fall a little bit with the breath. And just taking a moment or two, always at the beginning of your practice, just to check in with how you are, with how you feel, whether that's physical, how your mental body is, how your mind is, whether you're spinning over anything, overthinking, whether you're feeling a little bit flat, how your energy is, full of energy, a bit buzzing, a bit on your adrenal glands, or exhausted. Just taking stock, just taking pause, taking a moment to see how you are on the mat today. And then from there, just bring your hands into prayer. Take a big breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, a big sigh out of the mouth. From there, then open your eyes, interlace your hands, turn your palms to face forward and round your back. And then inhale, lift the hands up, pull the fingertips back and out behind you. And then exhale again, rounding. This time, inhale to lift. And as you exhale, drop your left hand down, reach your right arm up and over. You can drop your left forearm down onto a brick, or you can just have your elbow bent. And then take a couple of deep breaths all the way down through that right side of the body, so down into the right rib cage. Just feeling that stretch, squeezing the belly in and up as you exhale. Letting the neck, the head be nice and soft, no strain there. And then change sides. Inhale, lift up, sit up tall. And then as you exhale, take your time, come over, let the head be heavy. Try and drop your left hip down as you breathe all the way down into the left lower lobe of the lung. Good, lift back up, bring both hands out behind you. Press the hands away from each other and take 2 breaths across the front of the body. Just trying to counteract our tendency of slouching, of rounding, whether we're driving, whether we're sitting at a desk, sitting on a sofa. Opening up the front of the body. And then from there, start to hinge yourself forward, bring your hands out in front of you, and perhaps just rock a little bit from side to side. And you can either keep going like that, if that's enough, or you can start to drop your forearms maybe either onto your bricks, bringing them out in front of you, or you can bring them down onto the ground. Try not to round the back, so you want to keep the back long, the shoulders rolling back, and then you can just shake the head out a little bit, let the head hang. Soften the jaw again, and just take a few deep breaths here, breathing all the way down to the back of the body, all the way down to the kidneys. And as you exhale, that little sensation of letting go, of releasing. So any rushing you've done today, any overthinking, any worrying, Just seeing if you can let that go and just give yourself the next 40 minutes or so to your body, to your breath, to your mind. Just re-nourishing. One more really deep breath in. And a big breath out. From there, walk your hands back towards you. Step your right foot out in front of you. Bring your left hand behind you. As you inhale, sweep your right arm up and all the way out behind you. Again, let the head drop. You can be up on your right tiptoes, and you're going to breathe down through that right side of the body, keeping the lower back long and the belly toned. From there, slide your top knee roughly in line with your bottom knee, push your hips forward, and breathe all the way through that right hip. Opening up the side body, melting any hardened connective tissue. One more really deep breath there. And then dropping back down. From there, bring your left shin in front of your right shin. Flex your feet, set up as you did before. Inhale, lift the fingertips up, arch or puff the chest a little bit, and then as you exhale, round. One more, inhale, lift up. Good, and then this time you're going to drop your left hand down and bring your right fingertips out in front of you. Inhale, lift up tall, and as you exhale, you're going to twist and actually look under your right armpit. So press your left hand down firmly, spin the chest open and breathe all the way down towards your right hip as you open up the lower back. And again, deep stretch down into the right side of the body. Perfect. Next time, inhale, lift up. Take lots of time, go slower if I'm going too quick, and as you exhale, drop your left hand down in front of you. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And as you exhale, turn your chest to look under your left armpit. Take a couple of deep breaths there. Breathing down into that left hip. Drop both hands out behind you. Press the hands away from each other. Breathe into the front of the body, opening up the chest, the pecs, the shoulders. Lift and lengthen and then squeeze the belly in and up as you exhale. Feel that openness at the front of the body. And then start to hinge yourself forward, rocking a little bit from side to side, oiling out the hips, oiling out the lower back. And again, you can keep going with that movement if that feels nice for you, or you can bring your hands, your forearms either onto your bricks or down into the floor. Again, you can use books as bricks, so you don't have to have all the yoga kit. There's plenty of other things. Again, just take 2 or 3 breaths here. See if every inhale you can lift and lengthen, and then every exhale you can sink the chest down towards the ground. Apana Vayu energy dropping you, descending you down to the ground. That little sensation of release, of let go. One more really deep breath all the way down again to the lower back, filling the back of the body. And as you exhale, dipping the chest down, squeezing the belly in, releasing any physical tension, any mental tension. And then walking the hands back up. Step your left foot now out in front of you, bring your right hand behind you, and slowly lift up and arch back. Lifting the hips, breathing down through that left side of the body. Dropping the top knee then in line with the bottom knee, pulling your top thumb back a little bit and breathing as you deepen the stretch down into the left side. Navel to spine, lower back nice and long, one more deep breath there. And then dropping down. Great, from there you're going to come onto all fours. Sometimes it can feel nice just to rock your hips a little bit from side to side, just to keep the pelvis moving. You're going to then bring your right hand underneath your right shoulder, stretch out your left leg, and bring your right toes out behind you a little bit for a little bit more balance. Really plant down into your left foot so that you're anchoring your pose, and then reach forward and up and over with that left hand. You can deepen it by pulling the hand back, by pushing the hips forward, and again deepen the sensation by breathing all the way down through that left side. Try and even out any speed bumps in the breath, noticing if it's a little bit jolty, if you're holding it. Again, all the time just observing what's going on right now. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, reach over. This time, reach the arm up, the left arm up, lift the left leg, press the lifted heel away from you, and squeeze the belly in, keeping the breath flowing as steady as you can. You're then going to bend your left knee, take hold of your left foot. If that's a struggle, bend your knee to your chest, bring your hand to your foot, and then start to arch back. Keep a little bit of length in the lower back, roll the shoulders back and really kick back to open up the quadricep, maybe into the hip flexors, opening up the front of the body. Good, then gently drop your left hand down to the ground. Step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Perhaps drop your right knee back a little bit further. Lean your left shoulder into your left thigh and inhale, sweep your right arm up. Keeping the neck soft, take a breath or two there, opening up your right shoulder. And into that left groin. Drop your right hand down. Bring your left hand into your left thigh and spin your chest there. Inhale, lift up through the spine and lengthen, and as you exhale, turn your chest to the left, squeeze your belly in and up. Perfect, and then come back onto all fours, dropping your left hand down now. Reaching your right arm up, try and make sure your left hand is roughly under your shoulder. Anchor your right foot and then reach forward. Breathing all the way through that right side of the body, trying to feel the sensation of stretch. And breathing into that sensation. Couple of big circles. Watching the breath, inhale, lift up. And then exhale, sweeping over. Trying not to just move the arm, but to try and get into the whole side body as you stretch. This time, lift up, lift your right leg, flexing the foot and pressing the heel away from you. Gather up the pelvic floor a little bit, and just take a moment there, strengthening down into your glutes. Bend your knee, take hold of the top of the foot, or the second option that you had, bringing the foot to the chest, and then kick back and arch open. Breathing through the right side of the body. Good, drop your right hand down, take a big step to the outside of your right hand. Drop your left knee back a little bit further, lean your arm into your shoulder, and reach your left arm up. Both shoulders roll back, navel to spine for a little bit of balance, and really press down into your front foot. And then drop that hand down. Right hand comes to your right thigh, and you're going to turn with as much length as you can. So whenever you're moving your back, always think of lifting and lengthening first before you then turn the shoulders, squeeze the belly, and take another deep breath. Drop your right hand down, come back onto all fours. Just moving the hips again from side to side, oiling out the pelvis. From there, walk both hands out in front of you. You could drop your forehead down to the ground. Pull your hands back towards you quite firmly and breathe all the way across the top of the body, up across the shoulders, the rhomboids, the upper back. Good, one more really deep breath there. And then walking the hands back towards you. From there, you're going to tuck your toes and push yourself up into your downward dog. So I like a little bit of movement when I come into my downward dog, just consciously stretching out the body, seeing how the back of the body feels, padding the feet out, swinging the hips, perhaps shake the head out a little bit to check the neck is nice and loose, and then setting myself up with the fingertips spread out wide, the hands as flat as I can, the head hanging nice and heavy, and the feet and the legs nice and active. Take a full deep breath in, and a big breath out as you feel your chest drop towards your thighs. You wrap all the muscles in towards the midline as you strengthen. One more full breath in, and a big breath out. From there, inhale, roll yourself forward into your plank position. And as you exhale, press back up into your downward dog. Twice more. Inhale, roll forward. And exhale, roll back. Last time. Inhale, roll forward. And as you exhale, drop your knees, your chest, your chin. And inhale up into your cobra. I'm going to come into my up dog because I don't want to lie on my stomach. Good. And as you exhale, push back up into your downward dog. From there, just simply walk your feet forward up the mat, take your time. Bring one foot behind each wrist. Have a little micro bend in your knees, take elbow to elbow, let the head hang heavy. And you can rock a little bit from side to side or stay still if that feels better for you. But again, just that little oiling out of the hips and the lower back, allowing gravity to drop the head down towards the ground, to flush a bit of blood up to the head, the heart. Take a big breath in, and perhaps a little sigh out. And then drop the hands to the ground. Get quite a deep bend in the knees. And just slow motion, allow yourself to roll up to standing. Perhaps bringing your feet directly under your hips, bringing your hands in prayer. Close your eyes for a moment. Again, just observe any sensations. You might feel a little bit lightheaded. You might have warmed up a little bit. Just observing what's going on right now, getting into the practice of being present, being conscious. Take a full deep breath in. And again, a big breath out. Feel the shoulders soften, the jaw soften. Then open the eyes. Inhale, sweep your arms up, lift up. A little bend in the knees, and exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. The shoulders are going to roll back. And as you exhale, float your left foot to the back of the mat. Drop your back knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Shoulders roll back. Press both feet down. And then exhale, lower down. Step yourself back into your plank position. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, come through your vinyasa, either knees, chest, chin, lower all the way down. Inhale to your cobra or to your up dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, sweep your left leg up in the air. And then exhale with control. Take a big step in between your hands. Drop your back knee. Inhale, back into your low lunge, lifting up, opening up your right hip flexor. Exhale, drop your hands down. Step your back foot forward. And just let go into the forward fold. This time, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep up to a chair pose. And exhale, come up to standing, hands in prayer. Other side, inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, lift your right foot up. Float your right foot to the back of your mat. Drop your back knee. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands down. Take loads of time. Inhale, step back into your plank position. And then when you're ready to exhale, lower down. Inhale to arch open. Try and keep the hands flat down. And exhale to your downward dog. Take a really full deep breath in. And a big breath out as you strengthen and release at the same time. The areas of release with the head, the neck. Inhale, sweep your right leg up. And exhale as lightly as you can. Step the foot in between the hands. Drop your back knee. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, hands down. Step forward. Let go a little bit. Shake the head out. Take a breath in. And a big breath out. Micro bend in the knees. Then deepen the bend in the knees. Sweep up into your chair pose as you breathe in. And as you exhale, bring your hands in prayer. Again, take a moment. Again, I get out of breath a little bit quicker than I used to. Take a breath or two. Great. From there, reach yourself up or reach your arms up, stretch up, and then take lots of time to fold forward into your forward fold. Drop your hands down and just make your way back into your downward dog. Find your alignment. So always, again, being conscious, being present of every position that you put your body in. Nourishing the body. Inhale, sweep your right leg up. And as you exhale, you're going to step your right foot behind your right thumb and drop your back heel for your warrior one. So lifting up, inhale, sweep both arms up. I quite like having my hands a little bit wider so my shoulders rotate round, back and round the rib cage. Press the feet away from you, sink down nice and low, and try and get the rib cage facing forward. Squeezing the belly in and up, and just take a breath or two there. Great. From there, you're going to drop your right hand to your right hip and reach your left arm up and over. Try and really anchor that left foot down so you get this deep stretch all the way through the left side, squeezing the belly in, extending the fingertips up and over, and then lift back up. Now drop your left hand down behind your back. Either take hold of your fingertips or just grab hold of your jumper, so cow face, but any which way to start with, just face forward, point that left elbow up in the air and breathe all the way through that left side of the body, opening up again into the shoulder, into the side body, keeping the head and the neck nice and loose. You can stay there, or you can start to arch over a little bit to the right, opening up again all the way through the left side of the body with that foot powering down at the back. Lift yourself back up, uninterlace the hands, and interlace the fingers now behind your back. Inhale, arch open, and as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, roll back up, let the head come up last, and then exhale to fold. Good. Inhale, lift, And last time, exhale, fold forward, this time holding down here for a little bit. So press the feet away from each other, allow the head to hang, have a little bend in the elbows, and pull the fingertips away from each other. And then from there, drop both hands down to the inside of your right foot, come up onto the fingertips and the ball of the back foot. Inhale, lift the back up, and as you exhale, sink down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sink. Good, inhale to lift. And then exhale to sink. You can drop your back knee. You can keep your back knee lifted if you prefer. You can keep your hands straight, and that might be enough there. Or you might start to bend your elbows. You might bring your forearms onto bricks. You may bring your forearms onto the floor, just whatever feels comfortable for you. And then just take a few moments there. Try not to go floppy. So try and keep a little bit of integrity, a little bit of tension through the muscles. So the feet press down to the ground. You breathe as deep as you can into the back of the body. And again, just taking a moment to feel that little release or let go of anything that you're holding on to, whether that's physical, whether that's energetic, whether that's mental. The intensity might build in the pose, really opening up that left hip flexor, the right glute, right hamstring. Just see if you can lean into it as long as it's intense and not painful. One more breath. Good. Then starting to straighten up the arms. You're going to lift up off the back knee. You're going to turn your left toes out a little bit and then bend over that left knee. Inhale, scoop the hands up. This idea of collecting up energy, and as you exhale, pressing away anything you don't need. Inhale, breathing in as smoothly and fluidly as you can. Exhale. Not worrying what this looks like, merely what the sensations are. And then bring yourself back to the front of the mat. Drop your left hand down and inhale, reach your right arm up. You can turn your toes to the right if that feels good. Opening up into your right hip and just take a breath or two there. Option here to stay where you are, to work into that right hip, or perhaps to step back into your side plank for a moment, lifting up, reaching up. You can play around with any variation, lifting a leg, and then drop the hand down. Either come through your vinyasa, or perhaps just come into a child's pose. I'm going to come into a knees wide, which you can do as well, or you can bring your knees together. And then take a couple of breaths into the back of the body. Let's see if you can slow the heart rate, slow the breath a little bit. Keep the breath as deep as you can, and just notice when you come into a child's pose whether you immediately drift off onto other thoughts, onto the rest of your day, or whether you're able just to stay still and present. Come to seated, lift the left arm up. And as you exhale, simply another simple side stretch over to the right. And then change sides. Inhale and exhale. Good. From there, bring the up on your fingertips, puff the chest open, squeeze the elbows in, take one deep breath across the front of the body. And come back into your downward dog. Tucking the toes, lifting the left leg up as you breathe in. And then take your time and come into your warrior one, left foot behind your left wrist, lifting up, turning the rib cage to face forward as you press both feet down, as you keep the toes lifted perhaps and the feet active, and then taking a breath or two there, feeling the power of your warrior pose. Bring your left hand to your hip, stretch your right arm up and over and breathe all the way through the right side. Then lift back up, drop your right hand down behind your back, and either take hold of your fingertips or just halfway up your top. Either one is perfect. Good, stretching over to the left if you feel like it, or staying up. And central, pointing the elbow up. Lift yourself back up, keep the belly nice and strong, and then release and interlace the hands behind the back. Inhale. Arch the chest open and really smoothly exhale, folding forward. Inhale, roll up, lower back, middle back, upper back, and then the crown of the head. And exhale again, sinking down. Last one, inhale to lift. And exhale, folding forward. This time you'll hold a couple of breaths, so let the head drop. Try not to just lean on that front thigh, but drop down slightly to the inside of it. And then taking a breath or two there with that head hanging heavy, the feet nice and planted down. From there, drop both hands down to the ground. Shuffle probably the left toes out to the left a little bit. Lift up onto your fingertips. Inhale, lift the back up. And then exhale, sink down a little bit. So moving alongside the breath, this movement of prana, of energy, alongside the breath, and then sinking down, drop your back knee, bring your hands to flat. You can either just hover where you are, and that might be plenty, or you can bring yourself deeper into the pose if that's how your muscles are okay. Try and keep that little bit of pressure from both feet, and try and return to that really nice, deep, smooth breath. So noticing whether you're shuddery in your breath, whether you're jolty, and that's completely fine, but just trying to smooth it out, softening where you can, the jaw, around the eyes, sinking the chest forward and down into your exhale. One more full deep breath in, and a big breath out. And then you're going to straighten up the arms, move your bricks out of the way, lift up off your back knee, bring yourself over your right foot, turn your right toes out a little bit, and then inhale, lift up, scooping the hands up. And as you exhale, press down. As fluid as you can, breathing in what you need and pressing away what you don't. Bring yourself back to the front of your mat, dropping your right hand down and reaching your left arm up. Keeping that head and neck soft. You can turn your toes to the left. Pressing both feet down, you can stay where you are, and that's plenty. Or, if my balance will allow me, you can step back into a side plank, lifting up, breathing into it, flexing the feet, and then you can play around with lifting your top leg, or keeping it where you are. Come back into your plank position, either come through your vinyasa, or come into your child's pose. Take a moment, take a breath or two, breathe all the way down to the kidneys, to the adrenals. And as you exhale, see if you can release and let go. One more really full breath in. Noticing that cool air head up the nasal passage, and a big breath out, feeling the shoulders soften, the head hang heavier. Great, and then lifting yourself back up. From there, while we're here, we might as well bring the hands out behind us, lift your bum, and then drop it back down and start to bend your elbows. Pressing your thighs forward, you might find that actually staying there is quite effective at opening up the front of the body, and that might be enough. Or you may be okay to drop down onto your forearms and stay there. Or you may be okay to drop back onto your back and perhaps to reach the arms up above your head. Try and press the thighs forward and breathe into that intensity of opening up the front of the body, the quads, the hip flexors. And then carefully coming out of it, just being cautious of tweaking your back or moving your back in any way that doesn't feel right. Coming up onto all fours, you're going to do a couple of big hip circles in either direction. Just again, that idea of oiling out the lower back, movement through the pelvis in a direction that's not what we normally do. Right, from there, let's come back into a downward dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up, and as you exhale, take a big step in between your hands and turn yourself to the left. Make sure both feet are pigeon-toed a little bit, and then start to walk your hands forward out in front of you and allow the head to drop down, the feet to press away from each other. And just come into your forward fold. So the reason here for the hands being outstretched is to lengthen the back. You're trying not to have the back rounded, which can often happen. So take a couple of deep breaths, allow the blood to rush up to the head, to the heart. Pressing the feet firmly away from each other so the legs are still active. And walking your hands back under your body. Inhale, simply sweep the left arm up. Try and keep your hips centered, and exhale, drop the hand down. One more, inhale, lift up. And exhale, drop down. Then you're going to turn your toes out. Bring your hands onto your thighs. Wrap your fingertips around the outside of the thighs. Hunch your shoulders and lock your arms out, dropping the bum down. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, look to the left, roll your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back. Take a breath there. Releasing into the thoracic spine. Inhale, back to the center. And as you exhale, twist to the right. Good, squeezing the belly in and up as you twist. Releasing through the back, and then come back to the center. Straighten up the legs, turn your toes and your heels out. Interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, puff the chest open. Then perhaps with a little softness in your knees, exhale, fold forward. Shake the head out. Lift the arms up. And take a few breaths there. And then dropping your hands down to the ground, turning yourself back to the front of your mat and just come round to a squat position. So bring your feet under your hips, bring your left hand to the inside of your left thigh and reach your right arm up. And just pull the fingertips back. Try and press down really firmly into the feet. And just take a couple of breaths there, getting both shoulders back. Opening up. And then changing sides, pressing into the inner left groin. Reaching your right arm up, left arm up. Pulling the left fingertips back behind you and breathing all the way through the body. Pressing down into the feet, gathering up the pelvic floor, one more breath. And then dropping down. Coming down to seated. Let's come into a wide leg pose. So again, it can be helpful here just to pull the bum back. Some people like sitting on flat bricks here as well. So just prop yourself up as feels right for you. Drop your left hand down, inhale your right arm up. And as you exhale, just for a breath, come over to the left, and then inhale, lift up, and exhale, come over. Good, this time we'll come and hold just for a breath or two. So inhale, lift and lengthen, get the spine long. Now as you exhale, arch over, drop the head nice and heavy, and breathe down into that right side. And then change sides, inhale to lift. And as you exhale, lean over to the right, shake the head out a little bit perhaps, and breathe all the way down into the left hip. Try and root your left hip down a little bit. Good, and then come back to the center. Bring both hands out behind you. Inhale, lift up, puff the chest, and then as you exhale, start to lean forward. You can either stay there with your hands out behind you, or you could bring them out in front of you. And again, this can be a nice moment just to get a little movement, a little rocking from side to side. Healthy movement for the lower back. Again, keep going there, that might be plenty. You might drop your forearms onto bricks if that feels okay. You may feel comfortable with bringing your hands or your forearms to the ground. Try not to round the back. Try and pull the chest forward, roll the shoulders back, keep your feet flexed and your heels pressing down to protect and activate through the knees and the surrounding muscles. And then just take 2 or 3 breaths there. Perhaps you could start to lengthen your exhale, just allowing the heart rate to slow a little bit and trying to encourage ourselves to switch onto our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and restore, as opposed to always being on our fight or flight, which we tend to do in the modern life, Western world, rushing from one thing to the next. So one more really full deep breath in, and an even longer exhale as you sink perhaps further into the pose. Good, then lift yourself back up. Bring both legs out in front of you. Bend your knees, plant your feet flat on the floor and have your hands out behind you, fingertips face forward, and then lift your hips. Lift yourself up. Press the feet down. Keep the gaze up, try not to let the head drop back, and just take a moment there. And then drop your bum back down. From there, we'll come down to lie on our back. So to start with, bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall out to the side, and just perhaps rest your hands over your lower belly. If this feels very uncomfortable, you can pop bricks underneath, between your bum and your thighs, so that you just support and you don't overstretch through those hips. And just take a breath or two, see if you can drop the shoulders down, see if you can soften through the back of the head. Any parts of the body that touch the ground, just feeling that little bit of heaviness, that little bit of weight as you release and let go a little bit. And then bringing your hands under your thighs, pulling your knees in towards your chest, giving them a little squeeze, and then slide the knees forward and do a few circles. So here you want your knees to be really wide apart and you want to let them go really far forward. So I actually often let go of my knees because I want them to really slide further forward than my hips. So releasing into the sacrum, sacroiliac, any sciatic nerve issue, really good for all those areas. I tend to do this in every practice I do. Good. Once you've done that, drop the feet wide on the floor, drop your knees over to the right, press your left thigh forward. So try and make sure your feet are off the mat, and then drop them over to the left, press your right thigh forward. Inhale back to the centre, and exhale, drop them back over to the right. Press your left thigh forward, reach your left arm up in the air, and stretch up through that left wrist. And you can stay there, and that's plenty. Or if you like to go further, you can lift your right leg up and bring the side of the foot on top of the thigh. And really drink the breath all the way down through that left side of the body and feel what it feels like to be in this stretch, for your body to be in this stretch. So really being present in the sensation of stretch through the left side of the body, breathing into it. Releasing any last cricks, any last stuck areas in the body. Good, and then come back to the centre, feet flat, drop your knees over to the left, pressing your right thigh forward, lifting up through that right wrist, and then again, if you feel okay with it, bring the side of your left foot on top of your right thigh, and press it down and forward, seeing if you can encourage that opening through the quadriceps, through the hip flexor. Breathing all the way down into the right lower lobe of the lung, taking another breath or two. And then come back to the centre. So if you're confident going ahead with your shoulder stand, go for it. I'm too heavily pregnant to be doing shoulder stand, so I'm just going to lift my legs up in the air for a moment, which is equally effective and much safer to do. So please only do your shoulder stand if you're 100% sure you're doing it correctly. You're lifted up off your back, you're not leaning on your cervical spine. Otherwise, just coming up with legs in the air, arms out to the side, trying to ground down or root down gently into your sacrum. And just allowing a little drain of blood from the legs, great for fluid retention. You can do this with your legs up against the wall and just as a really nice restorative pose, stay there 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Focus on the breath for a little bit. Good, then you're going to bend the knees. Stretch the legs down, take as long as you can. If you're in your shoulder stand, take longer. Don't feel the need to rush to keep up. Interlace the hands, take a really full deep breath in. And a big sigh out. And then setting yourself up for your Shavasana. So any props, any eye pillows. And make sure there's distance between the legs, arms out to the side, and the body is as even as it can, the head not lolled over to one side or whatever. From there, just take a few moments and allow yourself a few deep breaths just to soften and to let go of your little practice, of any tension the muscles have needed to hold to be safe in your practice, of any thoughts that have perhaps been whirring around your head. Just as you exhale, just that feeling of releasing.